Hello everyone, I'm back again with the topic today, respiratory organs, class 11. Again, I will suggest that the children who are targeting CBSE boards, they should follow NCRT. And so I have kept NCRT in front of you so that I can explain each and every word or line of this chapter. So now the topic that we are going to do is respiratory organs. And children, see, mechanisms of breathing vary among different group of animals depending mainly on their habitats and level of organization. Yes, very true. Now, how does an organism breathe? That depends on the habitat where it lives. Now, what is habitat? The place where an organism is living. If an organism is living in water, so the way of breathing will be different. And if the organism is living on land, the way of breathing is going to differ. So it depends on the habitat where the animal lives. Also, it depends on the level of organization. Like we have done this level of organization in class 9, that when Whitaker was distributing animals in different kingdoms, he sorted out organisms on the basis of level of organization. So, what are the level of organization? If the organism is unicellular or made up of few cells, we will say that the level of organization is cellular. Then, after that, the level of organization can be tissue level. After that, the level of organization will be organ level, then organ system level, and then comes the organism. So it will depend on which level does the organism belongs to. That will also decide the way of breathing or the mechanism of breathing. Lower invertebrates, as you see in your book, lower invertebrates like sponges, coelentrates, flatworms, etc., exchange oxygen with carbon dioxide by simple diffusion over their entire body surface. Simple diffusion is where there will be concentration gradient. What do you mean by concentration gradient? Concentration difference. Okay, suppose there is a unicellular organism or organism which belong to very lower level like sponges and coelenterate. What they do is, if the oxygen content inside the body is low, but the concentration of oxygen outside is high, so what will be the mode of movement? From outside to inside. Okay, and the level of carbon dioxide inside the body is high, but the level or concentration of carbon dioxide outside is low. So what will be the mode of movement? From inside the body to outside. So this is how exchange of gases will take place, and the process is simple diffusion, right? Then earthworms, you see, use their moist cuticle. Now, moist cuticle is the skin. On their outermost skin, there is a layer called cuticle, which is moist. And the earthworm, they use their moist cuticle to do the same exchange of gases. Then we come to insects. They have network of tubes. Okay, see, they have network of tubes called tracheal tubes. Okay, now you see here on this screen, on the screen you can see tracheoles and trachea. See, these are the tracheoles and trachea, and these are the spiracles that are shown here. So I have tried to show you all the various organs of respiratory organs of different organisms. So earthworm has a network of insects have network of tubes called tracheal tubes to transport atmospheric air within the body. Special vascularized structures called gills are used by most of the aquatic arthropods. You know, now arthropod is a group or a phylum which is the largest phylum, arthropod. Okay, and mollusks also second largest. Mollusks are second largest, whereas vascularized bags called lungs are used by the terrestrial forms, like we use lungs, okay, for the exchange of gases. So these are the various types of organs in different organisms. Okay. Among vertebrates, now we are also vertebrates. Among vertebrates, fishes use gills, whereas reptiles, birds, and mammals they respire through lungs. Amphibian is a category, you see, like frogs can respire through their moist skin also. And mammals have well developed respiratory system. So you can see they have just given you an introduction of how various in respiratory organs of various organisms, and now the main focus here will be on human respiratory system. So our main focus is human respiratory system. So let me also take out one very good picture of human respiratory system for all of you. And yeah, I should type here human respiratory system. And yeah, I know that your book also has a very good label diagram of human respiratory system, but I think there are certain other things that you should label or you should learn to label in human respiratory system. So that is why I'm trying to search a very good picture which will be quite clear for all of you to label or to show you various parts of human respiratory system. I think a very clear picture. I'm only searching for a very good and clear picture. Yeah, but few parts are not labeled. Okay, fine. I'll take it. I'll take out. Okay, I think this is good. Fine. So let's start with human respiratory system. We have a pair of external nostrils. Now, whenever I'll uh, uh, read out few parts, you should look at the diagram that I will be teaching. So, what are the nostrils? The opening, okay, the opening of your nose. There are two holes or two opening of your nose. They are called nostrils, and they are just above the upper lip. Okay, it leads to nasal chamber. Yes, when you move inside from the nostril, when you move on inside, you get a nasal chamber through a nasal passage. Okay, now here they see nasal cavity, nasal nose, then nasal cavity. Okay, the nasal chamber opens into nasopharynx. Nasal cavity opens into nasopharynx. Nasopharynx, why? Because it is being connected to the part pharynx, okay, which is the portion of pharynx. Nasopharynx is a portion of pharynx. Why is it called nasopharynx? Because nose is connected to pharynx. Okay, the portion of pharynx where nose is attached is nasopharynx. Now, the common passage for food and air. Children, this pharynx is the common passage for food and air. Now, this is the tube called trachea. Behind this tube, there is another tube which you cannot see here. Behind this tube is another tube called food esophagus, which is responsible for movement of food from mouth to your stomach. Let me type if I can show you a 3D picture or 3D picture of sorry uh, wind pipe and food pipe, just to show you how are they placed. Let me show you. See, this is a windpipe, but I want you to show both the pipes. So I think a video will be a good. Let me show you this. If a video can explain it.
It has now been transformed into a soft, pulpy floor. This stage is called moldings. It is now ready to be pushed inside which will
So I think I should show you this. See, so this is the food pipe. And now the food is moving from the mouth, the food is moving here. But can you see a nose above? The passage is same. See, the passage of ear, the passage of your mouth, and the nasal passage. You see, all three come at one place. That is why the doctors are called ENT, na? E for ear, N for nose, and T for tongue. So this is a common passage. Okay, so this is a common passage called pharynx. I just wanted to show you this. Um, yeah, see? Yeah. Now this is much more clearer. You can see common passage called pharynx. Okay, this is the windpipe and the food pipe. See? Okay. So, yeah. Now I hope now you all are clear. So we move back to my picture of human respiratory system. So we were here. Okay, now, so nasopharynx opens through glottis of the larynx region into the trachea. Children, you can see, if I can, you see this is larynx. This is larynx, nasal cavity. This is nose. This is your nasal cavity. And here is an opening called glottis. This glottis will make you enter into the larynx, and then larynx will lead into trachea. Okay, again, nose, nasal cavity, then nasopharynx. Nasopharynx will have an opening called glottis. The glottis will lead into larynx, and larynx will lead into trachea, which is the windpipe. Okay, larynx is a cartilaginous box. This is made up of cartilage. Larynx is made up of cartilage, which helps in sound production, and is also called your sound box. Larynx is, you have learned in class 8 when you were studying in class 8. You know the sound chapter, when you were studying how does your voice box works. Okay, the vibrations of the vibe box, this was the portion. Larynx is the portion or the sound box where actually the production of voice takes place through vibrations. Then during swallowing, whenever a person is trying to swallow food, during swallowing, this glottis, this opening, this glottis has a cover, has a lid on it called epiglottis. Okay, so whenever you are trying to swallow some food, this epiglottis will cover the glottis or will close the opening called glottis to prevent the entry of food into the larynx. So whenever you are swallowing some food, your glottis, what is glottis? It is the opening of larynx. The glottis is covered by epiglottis so that the food does not enter into the larynx. Otherwise, choking will be there and the person can die. Next, trachea is a straight tube extending up to the mid thoracic cavity. Now, this is your thorax. Okay, so trachea, you see, trachea extends up till mid thoracic cavity, and where this divides into at the level of fifth thoracic vertebrae into right and left primary bronchi. Now, here the fifth vertebrae, you know, now your vertebral column is at the back side. Your vertebral column is just at the back, and your vertebral column is divided into numbers. Number one vertebrae, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your vertebral column, where your fifth vertebrae, where you are having your fifth vertebrae, the trachea the trachea extends up till the fifth vertebrae, and then it divides into, you see, it divides into right and left portions called bronchi. Okay, yeah. See, it divides into left and right bronchi. Now, each bronchi undergo repeated division. See, the bronchi is entering into the lungs and they are getting divided and divided, redivided, okay, into smaller and branches, and from primary bronchi to secondary bronchi, and then to tertiary bronchi, and then to bronchioles. And each bronchiole, each bronchiole leads into a sac-like structure called alveoli. Each bronchiole leads into a sac-like structure called alveoli. These are the air sacs. Alveoli are the air sacs. So just giving a reading for you all: trachea, primary, secondary and tertiary bronchi, and initial bronchioles are supported by incomplete cartilaginous ring. This line is very important, children. You see, all the parts, that means the trachea, the primary bronchi, the secondary bronchi, the tertiary bronchi, the initial bronchioles, all of them contain cartilaginous rings inside them so that they do not get collapsed. All of them contain C-shaped cartilaginous. Why they are saying incomplete? Because C is incomplete. C is incomplete. It is not a full circle. C, the letter C. It is not complete. It is incomplete cartilaginous ring, which are helping these pipes to remain apart, or the walls of these pipe are apart. They do not collapse. Okay, they do not collapse, because if there is a C-shaped structure inside, they will not collapse. Then the branching network of bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli comprise the lungs. We have two lungs. You see here in the diagram, we have two lungs which are covered by a double layered. You see in your book also, you have a double layered pleural membrane. You see this yellow color, double layered pleural membrane, or pleural layer, pleura you can say. And because it is double layered, it will have some space in between which is filled with pleural fluid. Now, what is the function of this pleural fluid? This fluid, it reduces the friction on the lung surface. You know, the lungs are always in movement. When we are breathing, the lungs are in movement, and whenever there is motion there, and whenever two surfaces are very close to each other, friction can take place. So to reduce that friction, this fluid will be of great help. This fluid will help to reduce the friction because the two surfaces are very close to each other, and the lungs are always in motion because a person is breathing. The outer pleural membrane is in close contact with the thoracic lining. You can see the outer membrane is very close to thoracic lining. This is thorax. Okay, it is very close to thoracic lining, and the inner pleural membrane is in contact with the lung surface. Inner one is in contact with the lung surface. Outer one is in contact with the thoracic lining. Okay, the part starting with the external nostrils up to the terminal bronchioles constitute the conducting part, and whereas the alveoli and the ducts from the respiratory or exchange part of the respiratory system. Now the respiratory system is divided into two parts. See, the respiratory system is divided into two parts. First part, what is the first part? It starts from nostrils up to the last bronchiole. From the nostrils up to the last bronchiole, this is the conducting part, because in this part only there is one function. What is that function? The gases will be conducted, the gases will be made to move forward from nostril, then from nostril to larynx, from larynx to trachea, trachea to bronchi, bronchioles, and so on. So this is the conducting part, whereas the alveoli and their ducts form the respiratory or the exchange part, because the actual exchange of gases will take place in the alveoli. So your respiratory system has been divided into two parts. One is the conducting part and the other one is the respiratory or the exchange part. Okay, so the conducting part transports the atmospheric air to the alveoli, clears it from the foreign particles, while conduction, now see, it's a passage from nostrils till bronchiole. It's a passage. Now during this passage or during this conduction, if the air contains some particles, those foreign particles will be removed or cleared, because there are certain hurdles in between, which we will be doing. It, the air also gets humidifies. What do you mean by humidifies? That means water vapor is being added to that air, so it gets humidifies. That means humidity is being added, and also brings the air to the body temperature. Another thing is, the air, the outside, the temperature of that air was something else, but now because it has entered into the body, the temperature will be same as the temperature of the body in which the air has entered. So you see, three things are being done here in conducting part. One is the conduction, other one is clearing of the air if any foreign particle is there, then humidification of the air, and bringing the temperature of the air to same as that of the body temperature. So these four things are being done in the conducting part. Now what will be done in the exchange part? Very easy. The actual diffusion or actual exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide will be take place here in the exchange part between the blood and the atmospheric air. Okay, so lungs are situated in the thoracic chamber, and which is anatomically an airtight chamber. The thoracic chamber is formed dorsally. Dorsally means there are two words, dorsal and ventral. If I tell you this in Hindi, dorsal means the your back side. That means आपका पीठ का हिस्सा, and ventral is your front side. Okay, so thoracic chamber is covered dorsally by vertebral column, and ventrally यानी आगे की तरफ there is a bone called sternum. Laterally यानी side में, laterally by the ribs, and lower नीचे it has a dome shaped diaphragm. Okay, let me show you this. See, actually it is known as rib cage. I must show you the rib cage. Yeah, see. So this is sternum, ventral side, sternum. At the back side, just behind the sternum is the vertebral column. Laterally, there are ribs. See, laterally, any side may there are ribs laterally, and here will be diaphragm, which is not there. Diaphragm, because diaphragm is a muscle, na dome shaped diaphragm. Okay, so your thoracic cavity is covered from all the sides. From the back side, it is having vertebral column. From the front side, it is having sternum. Laterally, you have ribs, and below you have diaphragm. Okay, so dome shaped diaphragm. Anatomical setup of lungs in thorax is such that any change in the volume of the thoracic cavity will reflected in the lung cavity. So this I'll be discussing in my next video. Okay, thank you.